tell you this much. We've got freedom of the press in this country. I've got the same freedom as Sir Max Aitken. The only thing is, he's a multi-millionaire, right, that has a newspaper, right? So he can exercise that freedom of the press that's there and dictate editorials that are in line with his ideological thinking. For me, and for all of these people, it's an abstract freedom. And I think we should, when we talk about freedom, we should get from abstractions to reality. What is freedom? Freedom also is to have the freedom to bring up your children in such a way as to realise their full potential, to be free from the fear of poverty, to be free from the fear of war. These are freedoms which I find establishment politicians never talk about. And the woman's quite right. The freedom of choice that you're talking about in a whole vast area is non-existent for the great majority of working class people in this country.
Please take a second, sit down, and honestly reflect. What does freedom mean to you as you ponder in retrospect? It gets invoked at any moment, it's a dishonoring effect. It can be both negative and positive, but in time we forget. Thomas Jeff to Dr. Curry, January 1786, he said our liberty depends on the freedom of the press. But he repressed his slaves, only freeing them on his death. He based any of your ideas, and the founding fathers remember this. They were all white, slave-owning, land-owning misogynists. From every Jeffersonian Republican to every Federalist, owning slaves and killing natives. These are rapacious economists, saying it's rational behavior, but these are pugnacious colonists, so violent.
We ask that the same laws shall work alike on all men. If an Indian breaks the law, punish him by the law. If a white man breaks the law, punish him also. Let me be a free man, free to travel, free to stop, free to work, free to trade where I choose, free to choose my own teachers, free to follow my religion of my fathers, free to talk, think, and act for myself, and I will obey every law or submit to the penalty.
So often we overlook the worth and the significance of those who are not in professional jobs, of those who are not in the so-called big jobs. But let me say to you tonight that whenever you are engaged in work that serves humanity and is for the building of humanity, it has dignity and it has worth.
It isn't freedom if it boss dictates your wage or per diem. It isn't freedom working till you're old, death trapped and beaten. It isn't freedom if profit matters more than human beings. We need unions, co-determination, no production for our freedom. Liberal fantasy as the history bends towards progress. I got fucking news for you. Many had to die in the process. Women's rights, work or civil rights, we can go down the list. Where we're the centrists, the leftists were the ones to resist. Democracy's only free because of self-determination. Extermination rights for the Christian theocracy be the end of the station. The democratic experiment is just that, a test of what's possible. We all need to stand up and fight to fix America. All are responsible. All of us.
A second Bill of Rights, under which a new basis of security and prosperity can be established for all, regardless of station or race or creed. Among these are the right to a useful and remunerative job, the right to earn enough to provide adequate food and clothing and recreation, the right of every farmer to raise and sell his product at a return which will give him and his family a decent living, the right of every businessman, large and small, to trade in an atmosphere of freedom, freedom from unfair competition and domination by monopolies at home or abroad. Right of every family to a decent home, right to adequate medical care, the opportunity to achieve and enjoy good health, right to adequate protection from the economic fears of old age, sickness, and unemployment, the right to a good education. All of these rights spell security. After this war is won, they must be prepared to move forward in the implementation of these rights to new goals of human happiness and well-being. For unless there is security here at home, there cannot be lasting peace.